Financial growth, security, and success for tomorrow. It's time for the Business Edge on V1370. Here's your host from HFS Associates, Angie Huffman.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Business Edge. What a brisk, bright, beautiful winter morning we have going on outside today. I hope everyone gets a chance to enjoy it. This week, we're going to talk about pricing what you're worth. If you own a small business, or own any business for that matter, or involved in pricing strategies for a business that you work for, hopefully you will get some good tips in how to make sure that your business is pricing your products and services at what they're worth. And that can be the most challenging thing, I think, for any business owner is what price should I sell my products and service? You're listening to Angie Huffman. I am the sole practitioner of HFS Associates, an accounting and business advisory services firm. You can find out more about me at www.hfs, that's Harry, Frank, Sam, -associates, spelled out, .com. And each week here on the Business Edge, we discuss business and career issues important to business owners and their employees. So again, we're talking about pricing what you're worth this week. Now, earlier in the season, I did have Cole Younger from Cole Younger Training and Development on the show, and he talked about getting the value you deserve. And in that program, we talked more about how to deal with your own emotions, your thought processes regarding actually holding to charging whatever fees that have been established for the product or service that you're selling. But this week, what I want to focus more on is making sure that you really that the pricing structure is set to afford profitability for the business, and that is a different issue than just asking for the price that you need. You got to first determine what that should be. So, what are some of the things that hold you back from charging what you're worth? The main thing is, I find for a lot of small business owners, is that they're not really sure what their product or service is worth. And it's knowing what that worth is that allows you to figure out what to charge for it, and then therefore then you can, after you know what to charge, then you can combat all the emotional, internal issues for why you don't ask for that in the first place. But let me ask you a question. Why does BMW and Lexus get away with charging as much as they do for their vehicles? Okay, or we were watching on a television show the other day, the Ferrari, that $280,000 for a Ferrari. I don't know, that seems like extreme to me, and I'm sure to the people who buy those Ferraris, it's more than worth it to them. But why do they get to charge so much more for a vehicle than in a Kia? Okay, the Kia Amante is current. Last I checked, is on the market for $28,000. Compare that to the Lexus GS 430, which is listing at $52,000. Now, when you look at the pictures, and excuse me, car aficionados out there, I am not a car person. A car for me is a thing that gets me from point A to point B without me having to walk. Okay, so though I want a comfortable car and I want a reliable car, you know, what it looks like, it doesn't, I mean, it needs to look decent, but I don't see a big difference in the appearance between a Kia Amati and a Lexus GS 430. So why in the world are those prices so different? And also, when you add to it that it costs less than 20% more to build a Lexus rather than a Kia. It's not like it costs twice as much to build the Lexus, okay? So why does Lexus get to charge so much more? And the reason for that is perceived value. Lexus has placed themselves in the marketplace as a luxury car. And yes, they do add some of the little extras and so forth that give it that luxury feel and look and so forth. But another reason why they get to charge that much for their vehicles is because they do. They just decide to do it. That's what I'm going to charge charge for my vehicle, and those are the customers. That's the market I want to go after. Whereas Kia has decided they're going after a different portion of the market. And yes, they're going to watch and make sure that they don't overspend on developing these cars and building these cars so that they can still also make a profit. But they're looking at a totally different market. And all that has to do with pricing strategies. I'm going to tell you about the three different, we're going to talk about the three different pricing strategies. There may be others that can be more complicated, but I think all of them will fall into these three basic groups. An overview is there's cost-based, where you are going to figure out how much it costs you to deliver your service or product, and then add on a little bit more for your profit, or whatever more for your profit. Then there is market-based, where you determine what you are going to charge for your services or products based on what the rest of the market is doing. And then there is value-based, and this pricing strategy is all hinges on what is the value in the eye of the beholder, and that gets back to that Kia versus Lexus paradigm there. So let's talk a little bit more about the first strategy, cost-based. Okay, what you do is you set your price at a multiple of cost. So if it costs you, I don't know, $100 to deliver a particular product, then you might double that or 1.5 times that, $200, $150 for that product or service that figures in, some profit margin there for you. It's actually very simple to do from a numbers perspective. It's very objective. You look at how much does it cost you. You add up all your costs for providing this product or service, and then you just add on your profit. But the challenge with this one is that you need to actually figure out how much it's costing you. And what I find with a lot of small business owners, that if I ask them how much does it cost you to deliver your service, I get the deer in the headlights look. They don't know. They think they're charging enough to cover their costs, but they don't know for sure. And this is very important for this particular strategy, pricing strategy, is that you actually take the time to make sure that you have figured out all the costs involved in delivering your product or service. So let me give you an example. Gentleman I worked with had a commercial cleaning company, and he was not sure how much it was costing him. He thought what it was costing, because what he based it on was how much it cost him to pay the people who went out and did the cleaning. But when we actually started breaking it down and looking at all the elements of his cost, we had the cost of the cleaning products. Not only was it the dollar per hour that he paid the employees, but on top of that, the payroll taxes he needs to pay for those employees. Some of them were covered by health insurance. What was the cost of that health insurance for the employees that delivered that service? There was also the vans that were used to carry all the cleaning supplies and the employees to do the cleaning service. So then with the van, there was also the gas, the wear and tear on the van. So when you actually added up the two of us added up all of those costs that were involved in taking care of a particular client, we discovered he was only charging about a half what he needed to charge to have a profit. And so he was wondering why he wasn't making any money, and that was why. So you need to make sure that even though from a calculation point of view, figuring out your cost based pricing strategy is relatively easy, it is very detailed and can be time consuming to figure out. But it's well worth it, because if you're not pricing your services or products at a rate that gives you a profit, there's no point. You're just going to dig the hole deeper. So, but there is a negative to this. The negative to using this type of pricing strategy is that it turns your product or service into a commodity. And so what happens is anybody who can do it cheaper than you will probably get the business. Okay, if your customers are people who shop for their services or products based solely on going with the cheapest guy in town, there's always somebody who's going to figure out how to do it cheaper than you, and also are willing to take less of a profit than you. So let's say you're pricing at 200% of cost, or double your cost. So you're making, say you're charging $100, you're charging $200. So you're going to make $100, and it's costing you $100. They may be willing to only take $25 because they're going to do it in so much more volume that it's going to be worth it to them to charge less and have more business. So so you end up in this catch-22 where everybody in the marketplace is slicing their profit because everybody's using this cost-based strategy. Another challenge with this is just actually, do you even have the data? I find with a lot of small business owners that they're not collecting the information that they need to collect in a timely manner to know whether they are pricing at a profit. So what I mean is that Mr. Cleaner, cleaning company, he's not recording in any way the cost of his gas on a regular basis, any of those other products, prices or costs that go involved. He doesn't have it collected in one particular area. And so at a glance, we can't pull out all this information. We had to dig through literally shoe boxes of information to figure out how much it was costing him for delivering this particular client's cleaning service and collect it in a accounting software program so that then it became much easier to calculate. So that is a challenge for a lot of small business owners. They're very busy in offering their products and services, getting out there and doing the work, but yet not doing the office work of collecting all the information. Then we have market-based. Market-based is you're going to set your prices what everyone else is charging. And again, this is easy to do. You can research this and you can see what the market is doing. So it is relatively easy to figure out. However, what if you can't provide that service or product as cheaply as the rest of the market? What if your product or service is a much higher quality product or service? How do you compete with the market? And it would also be not smart to price solely on the market. So what we need to do with them, and I'll give you an example from my own business, which I will do after our break, because we do have a break coming up. Please come back and we'll talk more about pricing strategies after the break.